What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another great edition of No Love Philly, the podcast dedicated to artists, activists, musicians, comedians, breweries, basically anybody in the city of brotherly love and the surrounding area that makes this place as awesome as it is. Today we have post-hardcore band from Philadelphia. It's Off and On Again. We speak to both Gavin and Matt about getting started in Virginia, bringing their music over here, reworking some songs, kind of that whole transition that they went through coming from Virginia to here. These are both really they're trained musicians and an actor. And so they're really applying what it is that they're doing. We kind of talk a lot about like even acting work that's available here in Philadelphia, and just kind of how they're doing whatever they can do to live their dream. I mean, whatever it is that they want to do, whether it's acting and playing in a band. They both want to be able to play in a band and want to be able to have the freedom to do that. And they've kind of taken jobs that coincide with their love of things. So, you know, one of them's working as an actor. The other one is working as a musician, and in ways that he submits music to different companies, and they pick it up for different TV shows and things like that. But this is what they do. They are professionals at what they do. And I thought it was a really good interview. Make sure to like us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and I know there's a whole bunch of bands that have asked to get on the show. I am going to get with you. I am working on it. I did take a week off. My mom's in town, and shit's been amazing. But here we're going to go with Off and On Again. Remember to like us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Make sure to like it when you see it so that I know what's going on. All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Here's Off and On Again. All right, let me see. And we are live as fuck. All right, so here we are. Right now we are in Center City. I'm surprised that anybody can afford to live out here, let alone some band dudes. And so I was like, all right. So why don't you guys tell me your names and the band you play in, what your roles are in the band. Let's start with that.
My name's Gavin Cole. I'm the lead singer for Off and On Again.
I'm Matt Burridge. I play guitar and do vocals in Off and On Again.
And Hey, gorgeous, what's up? Hey, love, I'm doing an interview real quick.
Oh, okay.
All right, can I call you back in a little bit?
Yeah, goodbye.
All right, love you, bye-bye.
I love you.
All right, so tell me, how do you, what do you guys, you guys said you just formed recently?
Yeah, we just formed in February. Matt started a band in 2012? 2012, like a post-hardcore band from where he's from down in West Virginia. And, you can talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I was in that band for 5 years, and I live up here for school. I'm a senior at University of the Arts. So it just wasn't working out with the distance and everything. But Gavin had recently just joined it, and we wanted to keep making music together. So we took some of the songs that we were working on toward the end of that band's life and started rewriting them for this band. And we just got a full lineup together, and yeah. Now we're just
I was going to say, dude, since February, I was wondering how you guys had already had songs out, because I clicked on something from you guys, right?
Yeah, that's something that I think that, at least I'm really proud of, the fact that as a young band, we already have 3 songs out on an EP that we released in May, the beginning of May, and then right now we're working on a 10-song full-length record that we're also going to be self-producing and self-releasing. Our work ethic is really strong. I think we have a good division of good division of jobs. So a lot of the times Matt'll write a tune, and he'll just crank out a demo in a day, and then he'll show it to me, and we'll kind of just start the lyric writing process, and we do a lot of that together. So we'll either be here at my place or over at Matt's place, and we just sit down and just bang out songs as often as we can.
So I'm curious, what was your transition like? I mean, coming from West Virginia, you say. So, what was the transition like coming from West Virginia here to Philly, and trying to find bandmates and put all that together?
Yeah. Well, it was definitely like it took me a while to find people up here that I really wanted to work with. I go to school with a lot of musicians, but a lot of them are more of just jazz musicians or things more closely like related to that. So it was hard to find people that wanted to play the style of music that I was doing, and so I was just continuing with the band from there, and we'd play shows like over winter break and over the summer. But we had been looking for a new singer, and I ended up in a songwriting class with Gavin, and we worked together on something, and we just like worked really well together, and we started hanging out a lot. And when the old band was kind of falling apart, it just made sense.
So is that happening in West Virginia, or is that happening here? Where you two met?
Oh, we were here. We're
Okay.
actually both from like the D.C. area, Virginia,
Okay.
D.C. area. But we met here in that class, and then just started working on a lot of stuff together. And yeah, like I said, once the other one kind of fell apart, we just decided we were going to find people up here, and yeah, it just kind of all worked out.
Yeah.
But
So are you guys classically trained musicians? Is that what you guys are going to school for?
yeah, I go to school for music composition. So I've been trained for the past 3 years in writing, which I think definitely has helped a lot with.
I was going to say, and you wasted all that on a post-hardcore band. That's it. What did
Yeah.
you do with my degree? This is what I got.
Yeah, and I write a lot of other stuff too outside of this. Like I'm working on a lot of library tracks and my own music, but we try to incorporate a lot of the like jazz training that UArts offers into our songwriting, in like work when it comes to like chord changes and harmony and melodies and everything. And Gavin is a musical theater major, so I'll let him talk about that. But
Yeah, I'm an actor and a singer, and my degree's in musical theater, and so I really like narrative and I really like storytelling. And so when writing music, especially in, I mean, like whatever genre, really, like I'm classically trained in voice. I studied voice down in Virginia, where I'm from, for about 3 or 4 years with the same guy, and that kind of moved into like from classical, like more operatic training into like more jazz singing, like Neil Sedaka, Billy Joel, kind of like more the like golden age of like jazz music stuff. And then from there, like high school, I started listening to a lot more like pop punk and punk bands and like post-hardcore. And then once I hit college, I was actually pretty adamant on joining a band, just because it's the one experience I never really had growing up. I was never in bands growing up, and this was like, and the Letter Six, which was his old band, that was really the first like experience I had with like the band scene. And so like that was a fun time for me.
So I gotta say that I'm super confused. I'm just gonna throw that out there. So you had a band in West Virginia. You two knew each other in West Virginia?
No.
Okay,
no,
so
we
you,
met each
so
other
then,
up here at
s-
school.
all right, so then you come down from West Virginia. You meet him in a class, in a songwriting class. Then you guys link up, and you're like, "Dude, I've got all these songs. We can rewrite them or do something."
yeah, we had been with that band looking for a singer for a while, because during like the last year of the band, our singer had left, and
In West Virginia.
in West Virginia.
Got it.
And we, like I said, we were only really doing shows when I wasn't up here. So, and he's from the Virginia area, so it wasn't hard for him to come back. We had him fill in for a show that we were doing on a tour in Delaware.
So just to be clear, you filled in for a show for his band.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And
all right.
it just went flawlessly. So we, over the rest of that week, we're talking about it, and we were just like, yeah, that's, like, he's a perfect fit. So then we started working on, we did an acoustic record with him, which was containing old songs that we had written for that band's previous record, as well as new stuff that we wrote with him. And that, I mean, I was pretty proud of how that came out. I think it came out really good, and the new songs on it were great. But it just, we couldn't play shows regularly and everything, and it wasn't really worth it to keep going. So that's we talked to our old band members, and we were like, we're gonna do a new thing up here, and they were like, they're all in other bands and everything, so they were like, cool, yeah, we're gonna do our thing. So then that's why we started doing this up here. But we took some of those songs that we had done acoustically and rewrote them for this band, and those are what you heard on the EP. But yeah, and then we've just, I mean, been cranking stuff out since then. Some of the instrumental tracks I had were ones that I wrote for the previous band, but then never got finished. So we were still using those. But then a lot of it has been stuff that I wrote in the last few months and that we've written lyrics for in the last few months.
So there were originally different lyrics to the songs that we hear.
The lyrics were the same. The main changes were that on the other record they were acoustic songs, and on the new record they're full band songs, and that's the main difference. We changed a few things like melodically, but the lyrics are the same. But other than that, everything's pretty much, they're just rewritten versions, musically rewritten. But
so how was it trying to find, the rest of your band out here? How did you guys accomplish that?
It's been a journey. We originally had a drummer that played a show that we did through the school, and then that didn't work out long term. And we've just been kind of cycling through, trying out people. But now we've got a bass player and a drummer that we're really happy with, and it's just, it finally within the last few weeks is clicked. So now we're really excited to move forward with that. If you want to.
Yeah, I mean, I think since we go to art school for, that he's in the music school, I'm in the theater school, there's like a wealth of people that we could ask, but because our school is a jazz school, it's harder to find people, especially drummers, who have the experience in like metal drumming with like double kick and like really fast, like intricate beats. Also, like the fact that we're kind of morphing, we're getting a little bit more mathy as we go along, like finding someone who can keep up with like the math aspect of the songs, and then also who can like do like just like straight blast beats and like really like fuck up some metal shit. Like that's difficult at a jazz school. Luckily we found a guy who's just like, he's incredible. His creativity on like we'll be just be like, here's the demo, like this is what, like at the very least this is what we want, and then he'll just come up with like insane parts that are just like nothing that we could have ever come up with. Like he's really creative, and our bass player is like solid. He's definitely the kind of guy who like is down to just like, he's down to like be like, okay, this is what we want, but at the same time he's got like super creative and really like really chill and like able to just like work things out with us.
Yeah, and just to add a little bit to the drummer situation, he actually had been in metal bands and stuff in high school, and then he went through 4 years of jazz training at UArts. So now he can do both of them like pretty damn well. So it works out because both him and the bass player share a very similar vision for what we want our music to accomplish, but they also bring their own elements to the table, which I think comes out with a really unique sound.
So you guys are going to college for theater and for music, right? So what is it, if the band thing didn't work out, what are you guys hoping to do? What is your goal kind of with those degrees?
Well, for me, like I said, I'm working on other music outside of the band. I've been working on a lot of library music recently, which...
What is that? What is library music?
So library music is kind of stock music that they have a bunch of people that write for these libraries, similar to how they have stock photo and stock video libraries on the internet. There's stock music libraries that like low-budget TV shows can use, websites can use, movies use them sometimes if they don't want to pay for someone to score their show or score their movie. So it's just stuff that's kind of generic, but it's like drag and drop type stuff. So I've been working on a lot of that.
So it's like the stuff you hear like on reality TV.
Yeah,
and
if
stuff
you're watching
like
a show on the Travel Channel or like any of those where there's just like they're in Ireland and you hear like an Irish jig in the background. It's probably a library track that somebody wrote in their like home studio in anywhere in the United States somewhere. So I've been working on that a lot recently, which is just good like supplementary income.
I was
'Cause
saying,
you
is
get-
it lucrative or?
Yeah, you once you get into it, the more tracks you get in, the better, obviously. But once they start getting used, you get checks coming in, and I mean it's really just the more you get into it, the more you get back from it. So I'm still in the early stages of working on it now, but my major teacher at UArts is really into it, so he's been helping me a lot with getting started. But yeah, so that's my main. Because even if I am playing in a band and doing my creative music, like that is something that I can do on the side because it doesn't take nearly as long to write, and you can crank out a bunch of them in a day and just send them off. So that's what I plan on doing, in addition to or just outside of my creative music. And then
Yeah, I mean, I've been acting since like the 3rd or the 4th grade, and so it's something that's always been a dream and a passion of mine. And I mean, I'll never not want to be on Broadway. Like that's something that I've always wanted to do, and especially as my taste in music and as my like physical appearance has changed over the years. Like I used to be like real clean cut. Like my dad, I'm a military brat, and so growing up I was always high and tight, and my dad would never let me like really do anything wild or crazy with like my physical appearance. And so pretty much all the way through high school I was pretty clean cut looking, and then I kind of started to like go off and do my own thing. But I've always wanted to be an actor, you know, with the addition of like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Video and all of these like streaming services that are creating original content. It's there's so much out there, which is also, I mean, like also to say like there's one of the women in Orange Is the New Black is the lead singer of like a death metal band, and she's
Which one?
what is her name? It's one of the Latino girls. It's the one, oh shit, spoilers.
The one with the very very straight hair.
It's like straight black hair, but she was pregnant when she came into the facility, and then she had the baby, and then it was taken away from her. Spoiler alert, sorry if you haven't, watched season 2. But yeah, she's the lead singer of like a death metal band.
she plays Maria.
Maria.
No shit.
Yeah.
Maria is a death metal artist.
Yeah, and she is.
Is it? Go ahead.
She is like killer too. Like,
Jessica Pimentel. What is it? Jessica Pimentel.
And what band is she in?
I remember when it first came out, and I saw the video, and I was like, "There's no way this is real. Like, this has to be another like Howie Mandel hoax, where like it's just someone who looks like him." Like Howie Mandel. There was an article on the internet. There was like Howie Mandel fired from Deal or No Deal because they found out he was moonlighting as the lead singer of Disturbed, and I was like, "What the hell?" And then I like saw like the two side by side, and I was like, that's clearly a hoax, but that's the funniest thing I've read in a while. But
I'm not seeing what the band is called, but apparently in the band she goes by the Crusher.
Wow.
But so like that being said, like it's possible to do both, which is something I've always wanted to do, especially with like TV shows and movie filming. It's like for TV shows, if it's like a syndicated sitcom like Friends and How I Met Your Mother, they do 3 weeks on, 3 months off. So they film the entire season in 3 weeks. And then they have 3 months off while all the post-production happens. And then for movies, usually you do like pre-production and like getting ready for your role for about 2 or 3 months, and then you actually shoot it, and then that takes maybe 2 or 3 months depending on how big the project is, and then you're done and you're just waiting for the next one. So having like multiple different outlets for my creativity and my artistic endeavors is really like it's a big thing for me, because I don't like to not be busy. I like to constantly be doing things, and so having a band to like get that sort of creative juices flowing is really cool. And then acting it's just another outlet, and it also brings people into my work with the band. And like on every single one of my bios and all the playbills that I've had since starting this band, which have been like 3 or 4 different like bios and playbills. They all have the band's website, and that I'm the lead singer for them, and so that also builds up a fan base for the band as well.
So have you landed any paid gigs, paid acting gigs so far?
Yeah, I just finished up a show up in Germantown. It's called The Liberty to Go to Sea. It's up at the Cliveden House. It's not like a big production, but it's a play that takes place inside the Cliveden House. The script was originally written by Philly Young Playwrights, which is a program for middle school and high school students who are interested in playwriting. And it was a project for them. They wrote scenes inside of the house based on the house's history. And
I know nothing about the history of that house. You can elaborate.
So I'm not a Philadelphia native, so some of these details might be wrong, even though I was just in the show. So there was this family called the Chews, and Benjamin Chew Sr. He was a judge. He was the lawyer for the Penn family. And so he was a really big deal. And during the American Revolution, he didn't really choose a side. And so George Washington sent him and John Penn, the last royal governor of Philadelphia, up to Union Forge, New Jersey, to like wait out the war so that the British couldn't get to him, and that patriots who weren't really a fan of him couldn't get to him. And so the patriots won the revolution, obviously. And he helped write the Constitution, and his family was given all of this honor and glory. And then his son, Benjamin Chew Jr., took over the estate, and it's basically just an estate that's and there are still Chews today. Actually, the house was lived in by the Chew family until the 1970s, and it was built in the 1760s, so it's an absolutely beautiful property. And the show touches on topics of slavery and freedom and what freedom means to different people. And so it was a really cool opportunity. So I've done that. I've done some student films. I do a lot of shows at school. And I've done some regional theater in the Philadelphia area.
And so there are paid acting opportunities here in Philadelphia.
Absolutely. There's a lot more opportunities here than in Northern Virginia, where I'm from, and so like it's a good area to be in. A lot of it's more like fringe stuff, so it's like interactive theater, participatory theater, devised theater. So it's not a lot of it's not like mainstream commercial theater like we see on Broadway or at the Walnut Street Theater or Philadelphia Theater Company, stuff like that. A lot of it's more kind of DIY. There are bigger theater companies like the Wilma and the Arden Theater. So there's a lot of opportunities here. There's, I think, over 140 professional theaters in the Philadelphia and surrounding South Jersey and suburb areas. So there's plenty of opportunities. Not really like an end goal for me is staying in Philadelphia, but for the next 5 to 10 years, it's definitely a viable option.
Wow, you could support yourself 5-10 years just in this region doing acting. I didn't even know that. I thought you'd have to go to New York or something.
Yeah, and I mean we're only an hour and a half from New York, and I mean there are auditions that happen up in New York, and so every so now and again I pop up there. My brother lives up in New York, and he's a professional actor up there, and so I pop up there. I stay with him. I do an audition or two, and then I come back down, and they audition. So a lot of auditions happen in New York, but the shows or the productions are elsewhere. So I can go up to New York for an audition that's happening for a show that's happening in Philadelphia.
Wow, that's crazy. What's weird to me too is that you come from a military family, military background. Your dad's all crew cut, buzz cut business, and then he raises 2 theater dudes. I mean, how did that even happen?
I mean, so he was a communications officer for 12 years in the United States Army. He was the first person in his family to go to college. He went on a ROTC scholarship. And so he was never really the kind of dad who was like, this is what you have to do. And you always have to be like this and XYZ. And he was very chill. And my sister is a history major in college. She's working on her master's degree right now. And so she rode horses. And so that's not really a kind of typical, well, I guess it's kind of typical for Virginia, but yeah, I mean, he's really supportive, do what you want to do. And there's always there's even backup plans for like stuff in the there's backup plans for people with acting degrees in the government, the private sector. There's always teaching. I can always fall back on that. I can get my master's degree and teach high school or college, and I think following your dreams is really important, even if they don't work out. At least you've tried your hardest at something, and I think that says something about a person raising kids. Follow your dreams, and I'm going to support you no matter what. But if ever a time comes where you realize this isn't financially stable, or this isn't the kind of thing I want to be doing anymore, you can always go back to school and start to do something else, which I think is really important.
I think where you guys are both very fortunate is that you guys are, working in a career, or have gone for majors and found paid work in something that allows you to do both your job and pursue your music, at the same time. And I think when I interview a lot of different artists, that is the balance that they're trying to find, is how do I manage my day job and touring and things like that and still be able, how do I do that?
It's hard. I work in the service industry, so I'm a bar back, and
love that job, by the way. I used to bar back when I was in college.
I love bar backing.
Bounce.
I was a bouncer too. Yeah, I was a bouncer for 2.5 years.
Oh my god,
it's fun. It takes especially when you're not like I'm not a big guy. I'm tall. I'm 6'1", but I'm not like jacked.
Right.
But it's hard when you're a smaller guy, and it's hard when your voice is as high as mine is to demand authority. He's like,
right?
Stop! No, get off! Stop fighting! But it's hard. But again, I have that military upbringing, and I did martial arts as a kid, and so that's just something that comes really natural to me. And you have found a day job that really helps you continue to do all of this.
Yeah, I currently, I said, I'm trying to get into the library thing, and if I can get into that, that's perfect, because you can do it from anywhere. You can even if we were touring, I can do it on a laptop, so it's so there's that. I'm also currently working for a company that manages music lessons. I just started working for them recently, but all of those things, teaching and doing the library stuff, both lend to my creative music writing and vice versa.
So who did the artwork for this 3-song EP? Where did that come from?
Well, a friend of his did the logo, and then I made the 8-bit figures on an app on my phone, actually. And then we edited them in Photoshop, or he edited them in Photoshop. I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, my best friend from growing up does literally every single kind of art that you could possibly imagine. He blacksmiths, he does jewelry making, graphic design.
Fucking blacksmith?
Yeah, he blacksmiths. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. He's made knives. I think he's made metal rings. I think the only art form in smithing he hasn't really got into is gunsmithing. But I wouldn't put it past him. But he grew up was born in Texas, moved to Northern Virginia, and then 2013 he moved back to Magnolia, Texas, and so that's where he is now. But his graphic design is ridiculous. He designed the Off and On Again logo, and the 8-bit lettering that you see is he actually went in and designed that. That's his own custom.
That's his own font.
That's his own font. He could make it into a font and put it up for people to get, but that's something that he created. And then I just we threw together the rest of it with the 8-bit avatars, and on the physical copies of the CD, we reversed everything. So when you open up the CD case, the back of the album cover is literally the reverse. So it's the back of the avatars, and then the reverse of the logo with the track names on that.
Wow, man. Speaking of CDs, that's odd that people are still buying those, huh? Are you good?
Yeah, I think coming up, like growing up in the 90s, like during the height of CDs, and like, I mean, I had cassette tapes growing up. I had a killer Halloween mix on cassette tape that I would rock all the fucking time. And but I really like hard copy CDs. I mean, we were just in an FYE the other day, and he bought like six CDs. So I think it just, there's not a lot of people who will buy a physical album anymore, and I think the people who do are fans that truly care about your music.
Or something I've learned from being in bands for the past like 5 to 7 years is if you have physical copies of your music at shows, people will buy it at the show. They might not order one, or they might not like ask you for one, like if they're your friend or something, because they can just find it online. But if they're at a show and they actually like your music, and you are like, here, I have this, you can buy this physical copy of it for a relatively cheap price, most people will pick one up. The first show that my old band did that we had CDs at, we sold tons of them just because it was like, people want that more than they want a shirt from a band they just heard, or any other form of merch. So I think CDs are more, at this point in the music industry, are more of almost a business card, or a way to promote your band, because people, you can give them a business card, or you can be like, yeah, look up our album on Spotify or iTunes or whatever, and they're not going to remember. They've seen a bunch of local bands that day. They're not going to remember to look you up. But if you give them a CD and they pay for it, they're going to make damn sure they listen to it. So I think they definitely help with that. We definitely still have way more people that listen to it online, but we also haven't been playing as many shows, though, so that contributes to that. But, yeah, I definitely think they're good to have at shows, at least.
Where are you all performing shows?
We played... Back in May, we played at the Voltage Lounge.
Was that hard to book?
We actually we had a video from, we had done a song at like a UArts showcase, and that was on our Facebook. And a promoter, what's his Jay? What's his last name? Do you know?
Roth, I think.
Jay Roth. He works for Grow Your Scene. He posted on our page and was like, "Hey, I've got some shows with openings. Shoot me an email." And we shot him an email, and he's like, "I got this Voltage Lounge date. You want to do it?" And we were like, "Yeah." So that was one of the easiest shows I think I've ever.
If you can, put me in touch with that dude. I would love to interview him.
Yeah, definitely.
I think he's actually based up in New York City. I know he has contacts down here. I think it's Grow the Scene. I think they are. He books in Jersey. I have his business card, so I can give you his business card. But he, I believe he's based up in New York City, which was interesting to work with, because it was a lot of emailing back and forth, and then it went really smoothly. I was really surprised from the way, because this is really the first like band that I've been in for a while, and actually have had music constantly coming out, and so I'm not really as familiar with that kind of scene. And so from the way that Matt explained it to me, like, we were like, oh god, this is going to be like really frustrating, and we're going to have to like really grind to like get shows. And then Jay commented on our Facebook page, and it all just fell together so smoothly. And then we're going on tour.
Already?
We're doing
With
a
3 songs?
Well, we're doing we've been putting out since March. We've been putting out just covers on our YouTube channel, just so we have some content coming out. And so we've been doing like acoustic covers. A few of them aren't acoustic, but most of them are. So my dad is actually a musician in the DC area, and he works for James Turner Productions. He's one of the 2 like heads of that company now, and so he's been booking us a bunch of acoustic gigs in the DC area, and then we booked a few outside of there. So we're gonna go. Just the 2 of us are gonna go home and play a bunch of gigs out there, just acoustic, and try to just get our name out there, and I mean, make a little bit of money, but also just enjoy playing shows. I mean, we've done some other acoustic shows, like we played some at McGillen's the other night. We might actually do that tonight, because they have an open mic out there. But I've always, in all the bands that I've been in, I've always liked being able to do like full band shows and have your music out there like that, and it's like the form that you want it out in, but then also be able to do acoustic shows. And I grew up playing music with my dad. In the past few summers, I've gone home and played shows with him. So I've
That's fucking awesome.
yeah, it's been great. I actually last weekend I went home and played a gig with him on Saturday, and then on Sunday we did a Father's Day brunch gig. So it's great. It's really rewarding, and it's definitely like that was my summer job last summer, was playing at bars with my dad. And so I kind of know the bar scene, especially in the DC area, and then Gavin works in bars, so we're both like very comfortable in that setting. So we thought it'd be fun just to go do some shows at home, and then we're doing one in Delaware as well. That's at a place that my old band played every summer. So I just shot them a message and I was like, hey, I got my new band. We're gonna come out and play. So we're playing another show there, and then we're planning some shows for like the end of the summer around the Philly area, full band. But yeah, and then it's like I was saying to him, it's when we played in Virginia a lot with my old band, we pretty much got most of our shows through the same promoters and everything. So I thought it was going to be a lot harder out here, but he sent out like a blast email to a bunch of venues, and it seems like it's not actually as hard as I thought it would be.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I think being persistent but not annoying is the key. Being clear and concise, and just telling them the bare minimum of what they need to know, like your name, what you do in the band, what you're looking for. I think that's all in like links to your music. I don't think you really need to sugarcoat anything and put these like ridiculously worded bios about how you're generating music that, challenges, XYZ. Like they just want to know what you want, and what you want is to play shows. And so just tell them that. And I think that it works. It works out. We've gotten a couple replies. I sent out a huge blast to like probably like 15, 20 venues and promoters, and was just like, hey, we're here. We have these availabilities. Let us know. And we've gotten replies back from Kung Fu Necktie and Alternative Underground. And so
we also were we were looking for things, but we were also trying to make sure we had a lineup together first, because that first show we played, we had a lineup together, but it's changed slightly since then. But now that we have something that we know is solid, and we're recording all these new songs and everything, we're really excited now to really start pushing for more shows now that we can do it, yeah.
That's awesome, man. So people want to find out more about you, they want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
So you can go on our facebook.com/offandonagainpa, Twitter at offandonagainpa, Instagram at offandonagainpa. If you want to listen to our EP, and we have some of the covers that we release covers every Saturday on YouTube. And so we have some of those recorded up on Bandcamp, offandonagainpa.bandcamp.com, and then our website, offandonagainpa.com. And the YouTube channel. Yeah, Off and On Again PA.
They're all the same.
All the same. Easy.
Off and On Again PA. All right. Hey, guys, man, thank you very much for inviting me out here to Center City,
thanks,
inviting
man.
me to your place. And
Of course. Thanks for having us.
you bet. We'll talk to you again, man. Good luck with everything you're doing.
Thanks, man.
You bet.